2025 was officially the year Chinese BL came back from the dead. And I'm shook. I honestly didn't know if the censorship board just took a collective gap year or if the producers found a cheat code in the system, but somehow we got away with it. And thank God because nobody, and I mean nobody, does yearning like Chinese dramas. They have this toxic ability to ruin your sleep schedule and make you overanalyze every single macro expression. It's the world building, it's the tension, it's the way two characters can stare at each other across a room and say absolutely nothing. Yet we all know they're screaming, I want you. It's an art form. We were blessed with 17 full length series this year. 17! We were eating good. But let's be real for a second. Just because there was a lot of it doesn't mean it was all edible. While some of these shows were cinematic masterpieces, a few of them were, well, waste of your Wi Fi. So, as your resident BL cousin, I'm taking one for the team. I watched the hits, I watched the flops, and now I'm ranking them all. From why did I watch this to inject this into my veins. Remember, this is my personal list. If I roast your favorite show, I'm not sorry, but I do want to hear about it. Fight me in the comments, tell me I'm wrong, give me your own rankings. I live for the drama and the fighting. Now let's get into this. Pluto Charon is from Mflow Entertainment, which should have been my first red flag. But apparently I like suffering, so I pressed play anyway. 10 minutes in and I already regretted every life choice that led me here. The camera work looked like they owned exactly one tripod and one idea. And yes, it was HD, but it was visually dead. The acting did not help either. I don't know if this was everyone's first time in front of a camera, but it genuinely felt like a school project than an actual series. Instead of using episode 1 to set up the story or introduce the characters properly, it just threw random scenes at me and prayed I'd care. But the plot was confusing for no reason. The leads also looked way too young to be doing anything other than stressing over exams, which made the whole vibe even weirder. Overall, if you skipped Pluto Charon, congratulations, you saved your time, your brain cells, and your Wi-Fi's. Logic didn't just leave the chat when the show was dropped, it deleted its account and threw the phone in the river. I have one question. What the fuck was this? I honestly watched this train wreck right up until they had the absolute audacity to stop airing it for free and put it behind a membership paywall. But you are out of your damn minds if you think I'm opening my wallet for this. I'm usually not one to clutch my pearls over an incest trope. It's fiction, I get it, but this was just pure nonsense executed with some truly questionable acting. The editing is a crime scene. It's just random clips glued together with zero correlation, making these 5-minute episodes feel like a customized headache. Please, I'm begging you, keep this stuff on Red Note or Bilibili or whatever the hell you guys' platform is. Let the specific audience that enjoys context-free chaos have it, and leave the rest of us out of it. I'm convinced Liu Cheng personally called the producers and begged them to scrub this footage from the internet while Revenge Love was airing because ew! Look, it wasn't a total disaster like the previous two entries. The main couple actually had decent chemistry, and there were a few intense moments where I thought, okay, I'm listening, but then the plot would kick in or lack thereof and ruin everything. It felt less like a TV show and more like a random compilation of scenes thrown together just to get a reaction out of the viewers. Also, the show literally vanished from the internet before I could even finish it. If the universe itself is trying to stop me from watching your series, you belong at the bottom of this list. This show dropped way back in January, and honestly, the fact that I barely remember it says everything you need to know. Here's the tragedy. This couple was the second lead pairing in Meet You at the Blossom, and they were iconic there. I was praying for them to get their own show, but be careful what you wish for, because they bored me to tears here. The chemistry evaporated, the sets looked like they were built 5 minutes before filming, the lighting was too much. It's a time travel BL which is already on thin ice with me, but this plot was excruciating. The guy just keeps traveling back again and again and again and again, and absolutely nothing changes. At a certain point, you just want to grab him by the shoulders and scream, just give it up, just accept your miserable life and move on. It was angst for the sake of angst. And listen, I'm the CEO of loving melodrama and angst, so when I tell you it was too much, it was literally too much. This was a mini series with only 4 episodes, and thank the BL gods for small mercies because any longer and I would have been in a coma. The concept was actually relatable, falling for an emotionally constipated guy who likes you but acts like a brick wall. I was ready for the angst, but the execution was a snooze fest. The two leads had zero chemistry and their long drawn out conversations worked better than melatonin, and I slept while watching this. And can we talk about the casting? I absolutely hate when shows hire two 20-year-olds and try to gaslight us into thinking one is a very older man. Slapping some grey highlights on a guy's head does not make him a daddy. It makes him look like he had a mishap at the salon. They were clearly the exact same age and it drove me insane. It's a harmless show, I guess, but keep your expectations in the basement. Lost in Kyoto tried to do the drama within a drama thing and it did not land at all. First of all, one of the leads genuinely looked like he was about to collect a debt from me. I don't know how to say this nicely, so I will not, but he looked more like a crime lord than a romantic lead. His presence alone made me uneasy, like I owed him money or something. The other guy was fine and they actually had decent chemistry, but the vibes were totally off. The bigger issue is that this show was way too ambitious for a 4-episode miniseries. They crammed an entire season worth of plot into like 30 or 40 minutes, so the episodes felt disjointed and rushed. And then out of nowhere, they hit us with a grape scene. That I was absolutely not prepared for. It threw the tone completely off balance. Look, the bones of a good show were there, but they needed a tighter script, better pacing, and possibly a stylist with a razor and some soap. This one is still airing, so I'm reserving my full judgment, but I've seen enough to know exactly where it belongs on this list. Listen, Chinese filmmakers are obsessed with the stepbrother trope, and honestly, I'm not complaining. The chemistry between these two is electric and the kissing scenes are actually hot. But then the writers decided we needed random violence? Why? I don't know. There is some completely unnecessary angst involving a kidnapping by a random third guy that nobody cares about. We are here for the forbidden romance, not a hostage situation. Stop distracting us with side plots and let the stepbrothers be messy in peace. I'm hoping they stick the landing, but for now it sits comfortably right here. Honestly, this was a win. A sketchy job was a solid, well-rounded BL that actually delivered. Sure, you could tell the budget was tighter than my jeans after a meal of Haidilao hot pot, but they made it work. One of the leads was distractingly cute, like pause the screen just to look at his face cute. And the chemistry between them was top tier. The kissing scenes were genuinely swoon-worthy, not that dead fish kiss we usually get. I really don't have anything bad to say about this one. It wasn't a groundbreaking cinema, but it was cozy, cute, and exactly what I needed. This was the very first BL from this small Chinese studio that has been feeding us non-stop content all year long. And honestly, I need to applaud them. Good or bad, the fact that they're churning out BL after BL like a factory of yearning deserves respect on its own. And Infidelity, It's a Disease was actually really good. It tackled a super relatable issue, falling for an emotionally unavailable cheater, and managed to do it in a light-hearted, slightly humorous way without making it feel preachy. I loved how the characters worked through their problems with an honest, heartfelt conversation instead of dragging it out for 6 episodes. The NC and kissing scenes were chef's kiss. Literally, that whipped cream moment where the semi licked it off the UK's lips. I replayed that scene more times than I'm willing to admit. It was cute, it was spicy, and it gave me butterflies. This one was a pleasant surprise. Okay, we need to talk about the leads in Trapped in Osaka because why are they not world famous yet? These two men have face cards that never decline and they are wasted on small productions. Someone give them a Netflix budget immediately. They are easily some of the best looking guys in the entire Chinese BL scene right now, and I'm not just saying that, they literally booked a magazine feature for the show. The show itself was super cute, but let's be real about the highlight. The scene where the semi pounces on the UK and the UK is struggling and literally groaning and moaning. I almost choked on my water on that scene. You remember that scene where the semi says, "Call me girl," in that deep, raspy voice? My soul actually left my body in that scene. This small studio decided to get artsy with the heart of Tsukuyomi, and I'm here for it. They traded the fluff for a deeper, richer story with a seriously moody setting, and it worked in my opinion. It was gritty, it was mysterious, and it had hallucinations and symbolism that actually made me sit up and pay attention instead of scrolling on my phone. It felt like they were trying to elevate the genre a bit, and I have to give them credit for the ending. We didn't get the typical happily ever after bow tied on top. It stayed true to the dark, atmospheric mood of the show. And if you like your romance with a side of existential dread and artistic lighting, this one is definitely for you. Sparkle in Your Eye is not a comfort watch, it is a brutal, necessary gut punch. The first half lures you in with that classic actor falls for his co-star trope, but it hits different when you watch the regret set in. It's painful seeing him realize he made this precious soul feel small, only to then watch helplessly as the industry vultures tear that same soul apart. It gets dark, darker than I expected, but I have to thank the writers for not sugarcoating the reality of the Chinese entertainment industry. Honestly, watching this made the Yu Menglong murder case feel even more chillingly believable. My only issue is the landing. After putting us through that much emotional meat grinder, the revenge arc felt soft. The execution could have been sharper, and the grand reveal didn't do enough to restore the dignity or heal the pain of his lover. Still, for the sheer audacity of exposing the industry's dark side, it earns the spot. Secrets Happen on Lychee Island is proof that true art doesn't need a marketing budget to scream for attention. It just needs to exist. This series found its way to us through whispers and word of mouth, and I'm so grateful it did, because it is a quiet masterpiece. You can feel the director and writer's heart in every single frame of the show. The color grading, the cinematography, it gives you Call Me By Your Name vibes but somehow feels even more intimate and precious. It captures that specific, fleeting feeling of a summer romance where two innocent souls collide, and the connection is so genuine it is precious to watch. There is a calmness here that stayed with me long after the credits rolled. The skinship, the kisses, the quiet hugs, none of it felt performed. It's the kind of show where I find myself going back just to watch snippets just to feel that warmth again. This is storytelling at its most beautiful, and it has permanently ingrained itself in my heart. I've read the novel, I watched Falling in Love with a Rival years ago, so trust me when I say the casting here was spot on. Bringing Chi Cheng and Wu Wei to life is not easy, but these guys really understood the assignment. You can tell the whole team poured serious sweat into this. We actually got a full 24-episode run, which is rare these days. It felt like a proper fleshed out drama, not just a quick crash grab, and I was glued to the screen for most of it. But let's be real about the changes. They definitely put Chi Cheng on a leash. He was way toned down compared to the novel, and I'm still debating if I liked that. Also, while the kisses hit the spot, the NC scenes felt a little awkward. They could have been executed with a bit more finesse. And I have to admit, the chemistry kind of sputtered out in the last couple of episodes, right when it should have peaked. But even with those wobbles, this show was a highlight of my summer and a genuinely good watch. Everyone rise for the Nongjian sisters because they did the impossible. They brought the Omega verse to life on screen and basically fulfilled every Fujoshi's wildest fantasy. ABO Desire was genuinely one of the highlights of my summer, the kind of show that makes you sit there afterwards like, did we really just get this from China in 2025? What I love most is that it wasn't Omegaverse just as an aesthetic sticker. They actually respected the lore. The way they incorporated pheromones, sense, healing, dominance, all those small details, it made the world feel real instead of gimmicky. Each actor really leaned into their dynamic and brought out the best in their character, so you could feel the pull between them. And then there's the Emperor. Live action Emperor was absolutely not on my 2025 bingo card, yet here we are. And honestly, I'm so glad it exists. It wasn't perfect though, and that's what stings a little. The second couple had so much potential, and it honestly hurts that they didn't get a proper conclusion to their love story, especially knowing how many people were watching mainly for them. Still, even with that disappointment, ABO Desire felt bold, fun, and strangely comforting. A drama that dared to go there and mostly pulled it off. For that alone, the billionaire Nongjan sisters deserve a standing ovation from all of us. To My Shore is still airing, but I've seen enough to know exactly where it belongs, right near the top. I'm currently reading the novel, and it is crazy how closely they've adopted the live action. You have to respect the audacity of Chinese BL makers here. While other industries are busy sanding down the edges of their characters to make them feel safe for mass consumption, these writers said absolutely the fuck not. They gave us two leads who are equally strong, equally unhinged, and completely unapologetic about it. It's a rare treat to see a Gong and a Shu who can actually go toe to toe with each other without one crumbling. But the real standout here is how stylish the characters are. It's in the texture of the scenes. Who uses a lighter when you can strike a matchstick for the drama? Who shares a cigarette during sex? It's unhygienic, it's dangerous, and it's the hottest thing I've seen all year. And that moment where Fanshawe deliberately turns to flash his back scratches to Jen Jen? That is psychological warfare. This is how you weaponize jealousy. It's those diabolical little details that make the show an absolute masterpiece of tension for me. I'm currently filing a lawsuit for emotional damages because I'm not the same person I was before I hit play on this. Now I want to hear from you. What were your absolute favorites? Let me know your top 3 Chinese BLs of this year in the comments below. I'd love to read your recommendations and see how it compares to my list. Thanks for watching, lovelies, and I'll see you in my next video. And don't be rude in the comments, I'll have to hide you from my channel. Bye.